course, I just hit my show notes when I maximize the screen. There we go. All right, now I can see what I'm talking about.
We've got the fourth member of the team, Mark.
There.
How's it going? Sorry I'm late. Let's something.
Hey, we keep it cash.
Yeah.
Keeping it casual.
Mark, have your main mic plugged in?
No.
This is where Chuck gets paid the big bucks, Phil, to splice all this out.
So, Mark, are we good?
Exactly.
No, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could try to hook up my... Sure.
It's okay.
Usually...
So, well, while you're doing that...
Do you want to introduce Mark? And we can dub that back into the intro.
Let me just do a quick thing, and let me pause recording real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. David, you want to...
I'll just pick up.
Yep.
All right.
Nice. Yeah.
It sounds like it went back to your Logitech mic.
Check here.
Is it not going to let you change?
I don't think it's going to let me change just anything.
All right. It's rolling again. All right. In 3, 2.
You're watching Diecast Breakdown with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to Diecast Breakdown. I'm so glad you're with us today. It's really great to have you here. We've been churning our way towards 100 episodes, and it's been really great to have so many of you come along for the ride, especially our executive producer level patrons. Those are the folks that give us $20 or more a month, which is insane. Thank you, you wild and crazy people, for giving over your hard-earned money each month to help keep the lights on over here at Diecast Breakdown. So a special shout out to Reviews Through Another Lens, Mike's Mods and Customs, Mad Visions, Video Geek Productions, First and 64th Customs, TWYCE Diecast, thanks David, DrivenDreams.org, Dane Self, and our newest executive producer level patron, Jason. Thank you all so much, as well as the other patrons that you're seeing on the screen. If you want to join their ranks, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com or click the little join button down below. And while you're doing that, hit all those little buttons that we love to hear you click so much. We can hear them from here. You may think we don't, but we can hear them. And it just makes our day when you push those little buttons. So anyway, I am super excited because this guy has probably inspired more YouTube channels than there currently are YouTube channels about tiny cars. I've noticed there's been some drop off lately, but we'll be talking about that and the crazy amount of awesome production value that he brings and the passion for the hobby. Phil from Peak Time Racing is here. Phil, thank you so much for being on the show today. We're delighted to have you.
How's it going, guys? Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're really excited to finally meet and have you on. We've talked to a lot of really cool creators on here, and I think you've got a pretty solid claim to one of the biggest channels on the hobby in general. And you've really just been cranking out these amazing videos. They look fantastic. You've got an expert level insight on these cars. But for those who don't know, let's go way back to the beginning. And where did this passion start for you?
So the passion came from cars in general. I mean, I grew up with my dad was really into cars. He was really into drag racing. So I would go to drag racing and watch drag races and stuff with him. And way back, probably when I was 3 or 4 years old, obviously being a kid, wanted to go to toy stores and all I wanted to do was buy toy cars. That was my thing. Any new toy cars and stuff. And I still have my original collection of toy cars from when I was a kid. So that kind of passion I just kind of grew up with it and grew up in just my huge passion for cars. And then YouTube came along, and I actually had a few different YouTube channels before I had Peak Time Racing. One of them, I still have a completely separate one as well. But the whole making toy car videos and Hot Wheels videos and all that, it just kind of came as hey, I mean, I got a Hot Wheels 6-lane racetrack, and I was like, let's just make a video on that. And I did a really simple videos at first. I mean, you can go back to my history and see videos from, I don't know, it's maybe 13, 14 years ago of the first ones that I posted. And it was just kind of just a fun thing I just wanted to do. And then it kind of picked up. And I guess at that time when I started, there wasn't a lot of people doing like Hot Wheels and toy cars. And so it kind of gained traction fast. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, I'm like, this is more than just a hobby now. I'm like, this is a whole other thing that I'm turning into a career. So Yeah, I love it. I still my passion for cars, my passion for toy cars is never gone down at all. I absolutely love them. So that's kind of how it all started and developed.
Well, yeah, and 2,500 videos on your channel. That's incredible. So again,
Yes.
that level of time and investment and momentum. So are you a professional content creator now? Is that your day job?
Yeah, that's so in 20, a month before my second daughter was born, I quit my corporate day job. I
Wow.
worked for a major phone company. I was a manager making six figures, and I just said, I'm going to quit. I didn't like it. I hated the corporate world. I
Mhm,
couldn't stand having to suck up to all the people up above to get anywhere. It was just not my thing. I wanted to be my own boss. And so yeah, it was a big risk. I took the leap. For the first few years after I did quit my job, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. It's going well. Like I already had over 100,000 subscribers and stuff, but like YouTube is a roller coaster, right? And
sure.
so I didn't know. I thought that, hey, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna put all my time into this, and it's gonna shoot up like that, and it didn't happen. So for the first 2 years after that, it was a struggle, and I think it was kind of like end of 2019 and then start of COVID when everything just really picked up, and I'm like, "Okay." I'm like,
Mm,
"Now we're making it. Now we're doing well," and so it's good. I don't have to go back to a corporate job. I started a couple other side businesses as well in the
mhm,
meantime, just to kind of help out. But now everything
sure.
is kind of now on autopilot, and it's a lot of trial and error with YouTube as well. Like at one
Sure.
point, like I was posting 11 videos a week, just throwing content out there saying I mean the more I do the more hopefully it'll pick up and that didn't work. So there's a lot of like okay, so maybe less is more, and then so it's just
Mhm,
really finding a balance, and that even changes today. And I mean now I'm probably doing 2 to 3 videos a week, and I feel like
mhm,
that's kind of my fine tune and where it works. So yeah, but I love it. I love content creation. I love the technology behind it too. Like I
mhm.
camera gear and on all that stuff. I really, really enjoy that too. So it helps to be able to get that and learn that and then put that into my content creation. So yeah.
Phil, you talk about you talk about going back and looking at some of those earlier videos. Well, we did, and it's fun because, of course, you see the evolution, but
Yes.
it is it is a case study on doing what you like, starting out with what you know, and just putting what you have into it at the moment and letting it evolve. But I'm curious at one little stat that I saw. So
Okay.
you used to do single vehicle cameos where you would just talk about the one car and they were
Yeah.
great and people were loving them, two,
Yeah.
3,000 videos. But then you rolled out that race video
Yeah.
and that thing went to 3.9 million views. So
Yeah.
talk about like when you're watching that thing take off, what is that like when you're
Yeah.
averaging two to
So
3,000 views?
I think the first video like that, I actually it's a Hot Wheels splash video where it's like a race video where the cars splash into the water. I'm not sure if that's the specific one you were talking about or not, but for as far as I remember, that was like one of the first ones that I was actually in Palm Springs and I brought my Hot Wheels track down there. It was a family vacation, and I brought Hot Wheels, and my goal was I'm going to film a video of Hot Wheels racing going into the pool of
Right.
the Airbnb house that we were renting, and I almost didn't do it, and because the pool pump broke and there was these people in the yard fixing it, and then I just kind of got discouraged, and my wife's like, no, just do it, like you just got to film it. And I
Right.
was like fine, I'll do it. And so I did it, and when I posted it like the day that we were leaving, and like within 24 hours it probably got 3 to 400,000 views, and I was like, "What is going on?" And so I was like, "Okay," I was like, "I guess this is what people like more, right?"
This might
So
be something.
yeah, so like I like doing those little short videos of just the 1 minute Hot Wheels videos, but I wanted obviously you want people to watch longer, and those were just too short of videos, and it
Hmm.
was it was too much work, too many videos. I just kind of started diluting my channel with those. So then that's when I started posting the race videos. Then I started doing a series of the race videos, and it just kind of took off from there.
So I want to know if I could a follow up. When
Yeah.
you joined YouTube in 2011, or that's when the channel that we know now
Yeah.
was created. Talk about the diecast scene on YouTube at that time. What were viewers' options?
The big one when I joined that I watched was Race Grooves.
Mm.
Race Grooves was the big one, and I was like, oh my god, he's the hero. I remember even watching his live stream when he hit 500,000 followers, and he was just going crazy. And I remember him and his passion. But no offense to him, but I think he's a little bit older, and maybe I was a little bit younger when I joined YouTube, and I could relate a little bit more to the younger crowd. My passion now is, well, it's kind of always been, I like getting the newer stuff and showing the newer stuff. So when something new comes out, I like showing the newer stuff. And I feel like, I think his channel, he did a lot of good race videos and stuff. And I think he kind of went towards the older stuff. And then so once I started doing more newer stuff, other channels started joining YouTube and doing newer stuff. And there was a lot of it was aimed towards very younger kids stuff. And I can't remember the year it was, maybe 2018, 2019, when YouTube came out with the whole like made for kids, not made
Right.
for kids thing.
Mhm.
And I said to myself, I'm like, okay, so this is what I can do. I can mark my channel now as made for kids, and I can just make kiddie videos. And I was like, or I could just be me and do what I'm doing. I'm an adult that loves collecting cars. And so I was like, this is not a kids channel. To me, yeah, okay, yeah, of course Hot Wheels, a lot of kid followers. I still have a lot of kid viewers and stuff. But I'm passionate about
Mhm.
cars and collecting diecast, and that's what I want my channel to be. So I tried transitioning my channel more towards the collector side as opposed to the kid video side. Even though if you look at my channel now, the amount of just regular like hobby style videos that I do compared to like racing videos is I do a lot more of the hobby style videos than I do the racing videos. And I still don't mind doing the race videos every once in a while because I know I still have a fan base for that. And I know people like watching that. I know
Mhm.
those get a lot of views and stuff. But I like to do what I enjoy. I'm not gonna just make a lot of these kiddie style videos because I want to gain these kids and have these fans come in and stuff that are all the younger audience. I'm marketing my channel to what I like and to the collectors like your guys yourself that
Yeah.
are
Preach.
the older generation, right?
Preach it. Preach it.
Back with more Diecast Breakdown after this word from our sponsors. Legendary Hollywood concept artist and designer Fireball Tim Lawrence has created 3 exclusive pieces of automotive art based on the 3 hosts of Diecast Breakdown. Get these and other brilliant designs printed on mugs and more at fireballtimgarage.art today. Here's this week's small channel shoutout.
Something Diecast.
If you have a favorite Diecast channel with less than 700 subscribers and you'd like to see them highlighted on a future episode, email us at diecastbreakdown@gmail.com.
Cast Heads Magazine is a digital publication dedicated to enhancing the lives of collectors all across the world by providing information on new models, reviews on brands and diecast accessories like figures and dioramas, throwing light on customizers, photographers and people who contribute to making the diecast world vibrant. Subscribe to Cast Heads for free and look for collaborations with Diecast Media Network at castheadsmagazine.com.
And now back to Diecast Breakdown.
So, Phil, now when we throw out numbers like 559,000 subs on YouTube, nearly 250 million views at
Yeah.
last count today. I mean, what do those numbers do to you when you think about that? I mean, did you ever think you'd be sitting here talking about that kind of, I don't know, that kind of legacy?
I like I said, when I started posting videos, it was just really a hobby of liking making videos. I didn't have a goal in mind. I didn't think it would pick
Right.
up. But yeah, I mean now it's grown so much. I used to track that like my subscriber count and my view count like all the time and look at it. But now it's just focus on the important things and that will take care of itself, right? That
And
builds
yeah,
itself up as long as you're doing the right thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'd have to say.
that's a really great takeaway from this entire interview for me, guys, is you focus on what you know, what you like, your passion, you do it the way you know how to do it. You don't try and fake it. And just like Phil says, the rest will kind of take care of itself. people are attracted to authenticity. And I think that's part of the reason why you have the reach that you do. And we all appreciate it. I was telling Phil earlier, guys, that he's one of the reasons I got back into collecting. I know there's a lot of viewers that can probably echo that comment as well.
Happy to inspire a lot of people. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are very talented that just don't take the leap to make videos on YouTube. And I think if I can just inspire those people to do so, I'm happy to help. I think a lot of people in their space get jealous when another creator comes up and starts doing well. And I mean, I don't really care. I mean, I like to see other hobbyists that come up and there's a lot of new creators that I watch and I'll learn something from, and I'll be like, oh, that's cool. That's a great way that they've integrated it. I mean, I can put my own spin onto that and have something else. And I don't like I think everyone should feed off of each other and not get jealous of one creator doing better than the other. And I mean, like you said, like to me, like subscriber count and view count, I stay humble about that stuff. That stuff, it kind of take care of itself. And too many creators are like, oh my God, I have 100,000 followers and I have 1 million followers and this and that. And they just focus on that rather than actually creating content. And then those creators end up dying out, right? There's a lot of creators that have come around and hit 1 million followers so fast. And then what happens? They've hit the 1 million followers and then they're like, well, what else am I going to do now? I don't have anything to do. And then their channel just dies. And so you have a channel with 1 million followers that's just dead, right? Because that's all they cared about was the clout behind it.
It's very easy to get burned out. Even with a smaller channel like ours, I got burned out early on because I got so busy on trying to focus on what is it that people want to watch and what do people do. And when you're first starting out, especially like you said, it's important to be authentic, talk about what you know, talk about what you like. And there's all these people out there, these gurus and stuff that'll tell you how to get 1 million followers and 1 million subscribers and all that stuff. There's the stat that I love to throw around is that there's over 80 years of video content gets uploaded to YouTube every day. It's 500,000 hours of content gets uploaded to YouTube every day. So the fact that even if a few hundred people find your video in a day, you're competing against a lifetime of content, new content that's uploaded every day. So cut yourself some slack, enjoy the ride. And if you are fortunate, like Phil, to become a full-time content creator, then you can really dig into the weeds. And that's something I'm really curious about with you, because you are now a full-time content creator. What's the day in the life of a content creator like? Like, how do you structure your day? How do you plan the stuff for your channel?
I don't work a 9 to 5. I don't say, okay, I got to go downstairs and this is my work time. Like I said, I was saying I have 3 kids. So, and it's basically working around my kids and my wife's schedule. And it's basically beginning of the week. I'll kind of spend the first few days, the time that I have to plan what type of videos I want to do. So I'll go down to my studio and I'll spend hours down there organizing things, saying, okay, I can do a video of this. So I'll line this up. I can do a video of this. And so I usually have videos lined up for probably 2 weeks in advance on what I want to do. And my posting schedule is usually Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, I find is the best days to post right now on my channel. So those are the days that I've been doing, which works out great because it gives me the early week to plan and film and edit. And then I'm posting on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then it's starting to plan more videos during that time. Or sometimes I'll throw in a live stream within there. It's kind of whatever flow that I create at the beginning of the week and kind of flows into the videos. And like I said, it's just around whatever time that I can create. I don't plan months in advance. Like a lot of creators are like, oh, I know what video I'm posting in December. And I was like, no, I have no idea. And I get a lot of packages. Like I from Granite Toys, which is one of my sponsors, they send me a lot of stuff. I buy a lot of stuff on eBay. I'll buy a lot of stuff on Whatnot. So I'm always getting packages, and I have the luxury. I live really close to the Canada-US border. So I can drive down to the US in 5 minutes and pick up a bunch of packages that I've got bought in the US, delivered to the US to a mailbox down there. And then I just bring it back to Canada. And then, so it's a lot of times at the beginning of the week, I'll go down there and pick up my packages. And I'm like, okay, so which video am I filming this week about like whatever stuff I've gotten? So
you're in my neck of the woods.
Don't touch that dial. Diecast Breakdown will be right back after these messages. Diecast Breakdown is produced in partnership with TWYCE Diecast and Driven Dreams Org on YouTube. Check out their channels in the video description and subscribe for more epic Diecast content.
Hey, this is Larry Wood.
This is Derek from Honest Diecast.
Hey, this is Chad Reed from Round 2.
This is Mike from Gaslands.
The SRT Jovita Show.
This is Champion DJ K.
This is Mad Vision here.
This is Diecast Dude.
And you're watching Diecast Breakdown.
And now, the thrilling conclusion of this week's episode of Diecast Breakdown.
I'm more into the newer stuff, so the excitement for me is getting the newer stuff that comes in, and I have a passion for collecting like a specific model. I like collecting all the colors of that model. So when a new model comes out, then it's kind of cool. It's exciting that you get a new model coming out, and I'm big into exotic cars, right? So if a new Bugatti, Lambo, McLaren, something like that, Porsche comes out, then I'm into collecting those ones, and so getting the new sets of those, filming those ones, showing them, and then a lot of times I'll do other videos that will involve those ones, or then I'll do pictures for Instagram, Facebook. So I'm not gonna lie, I do get burnout sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like filming this week. I don't really want to do it. Like sometimes it'll be like a Friday or sorry, it'll be a Thursday, and I'll be like, I need to post a video for Friday, and then I'll be like, it'll be Thursday night, and I'm just scrounging, and I'm up late filming, editing to get something out. So it's up and down. It's not a smooth sail the whole time. There literally is times where I just like, it's very rare, but there has been times where I don't release a video on a Friday or a Saturday, and it's just because I am just so burnt out, and I just can't do it. So it happens. I mean, it happens with every creator. The thing is I know YouTube is aware, if you need to take a break, you can take a break. But I don't know. I don't believe in that. I think that if you take too long of a break, then it does affect your channel. Yeah,
you lose a lot of engagement.
Yeah. So you can't stop, right? So you have to continue posting. So yeah, I mean, to me, like I said, I like the technology behind it. So I spend half my week fiddling with equipment and trying to improve quality all the time. So some weeks I film a video and I'm like, oh my gosh, I screwed that up. That looks bad. I gotta fix it next time. So that's always something that keeps me going. It's not, like I said, it's not just necessarily just the diecast itself. So there's a lot of moving parts behind the scenes that keep the channel going and that I enjoy. I'll be honest, I'm a college dropout, essentially. I went to college, I hated it. I don't like classroom work. So a lot of what I've learned, I've taught myself. And a lot of what I've learned, I use YouTube. It's the funny quote that people say, YouTube University. And it's like literally everything that I've learned about the technology behind YouTube and filming, producing videos, it's all stuff that I've learned just by watching YouTube.
Visual learner.
Yeah.
I've fixed more cars that way. I've done more repairs on my cars from YouTube videos than just about anything else. And I have factory shop manuals on all my cars, and I still that's my go-to. And that's I think the really great thing about it. I watch YouTube, I think, more than I watch actual television anymore, because it's just
same.
There's so much specialized stuff in what you like out there, and there's people creating amazing videos, whether you're into theme parks or big cars or little cars or obscure hobbies, like the tabletop gaming crowd. Like, I watch them a lot because I do customs, and I learn a lot of painting techniques from those guys. And so it's just like I said, there's 80 years of content uploaded every day. It's a fire hose of content out there, and you're going to find something. There's something for everybody out here. And it's really cool that you've had this experience where you got in kind of, I would say, pretty close to the ground floor of diecast content creation, because there really weren't, like we mentioned, in COVID times, everybody started a YouTube channel, myself included. But the guys like you and Bare Metal HW and the guys that were doing it a long time beforehand, that really kind of paved the way to go, okay, this is what diecast content on YouTube looks like. This is the standard, and we all kind of adapted and evolved from that. And I appreciate what you said when you said, there's plenty of room for other creators out there. Everybody brings their own special flair. I tell people all the time, people come to your channel for you. They don't come to you for the tiny cars. They can get the tiny car information from anywhere. They can get that from Instagram. They can get it from the brands directly. They're coming for your take on things.
Yeah.
So be yourself. And there's 8 billion people in the world.
100%.
If 1% of those people like what you do, you've got millions of fans. You're going to be fine.
I think one thing a lot of people find different when they speak with me is that I when they speak with me probably on this type of scenario, I think when I do videos, I up my energy and my voice probably sounds a little bit more higher pitched and stuff like that. But to me, I feel you have to, if you're too monotone, then you're going to lose viewers, right? You got to sound at least somewhat exciting. And to me, I'm not really faking it. I enjoy the stuff that I'm doing videos on. I love opening up new cars and stuff like that. So to me, it is exciting. So it's just, I'm building that energy and trying to express that energy on some. And so some people don't like it. Some people do.
Yeah. Well, I think it's something that comes with time too. Like people, you develop that muscle memory. You kind of know, okay, well, I'm presenting now. The thing that we used to tell people when we were shooting commercials, we were like, you got to take it 3 levels higher than you think you need to, because the camera is going to bring your levels down.
Yep.
Normal talking, when people are just normally conversing, does not sound very interesting on a microphone. You got to take it up a couple notches, and then you'll sound normal. And if you take it up 5 notches, you got Billy Mays.
Yeah.
So there is a balance after all.
A lot of people, when they ask me for advice on YouTube, I always say, if you film videos, you need to up your energy by 10, right? Because I think a lot of people who do start making videos, I don't think they realize how boring they sound when they're not upping their energy. And I'll be honest, I've had a lot of other diecast creators reach out to me and ask me for advice, and I've helped them with advice, but I feel like I don't want to step on toes and be like, you're just boring, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say that to people, but I have to, like, sometimes you gotta tell people the hard way and be like, you gotta like up the energy a bit. But so if I know them well enough, I'll tell them that. But like, I mean, that's the big thing. You can't, if you sound too boring, you're just not you're gonna lose viewers fast, right?
Yeah. Natural energy.
Phil, you mentioned
Can you
earlier.
up your percentage 10%, please?
You mentioned earlier kind of a trend in our hobby that it's getting tough to find cars in stores. Like collectors never had a harder time. So we've talked about YouTube. Let's talk about another platform. I want to know about your experience with one of the newest places to buy cars online and why is really making an impact in our hobby. Talk about your experience.
I'll start from before Whatnot. I've always been into eBay. I created my eBay account in like 2001, and I've been buying stuff on eBay since then, right? And so just because it is harder to get stuff up in Canada, so I'd always buy from the States and get stuff either shipped up here or shipped to a box there. And so when Whatnot hit, and I'm like, okay, so Whatnot is this basically, it's eBay but live. And I remember as a kid also going to live car auctions with my dad. And I loved watching live car auctions. I'm like, this is cool. You're bidding on stuff live and buying stuff live. And so it's like, damn, this is like this is everything that I've loved combined into an app. And I'm like, this is amazing. So it was actually one of my friends that lives a couple hours away from me that he told me about Whatnot. And he was really into sports trading cards. And so I signed up through him and I started watching his live streams, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then I'm like, of course, I'm like, what, who's selling Hot Wheels on here? So I go to the Hot Wheels section. And of course, there's a bunch of the original Whatnot Hot Wheels streamers on there. And so I kind of started getting into there. And then Whatnot even reached out to me and partnered with me for some streams on Whatnot. And yeah, I just love the platform. I honestly, I every day I spend probably at least an hour or two on just sitting on Whatnot, watching Whatnot streamers, and it's everything too. It's not just diecast. I like tools, so I'll buy tools on like tool Whatnot streams, but there's just the community around the diecast on there. It's growing huge, and it's becoming the platform to buy diecast on now. Like I find myself more now going on Whatnot than even looking at eBay anymore. I would prefer to go and there's certain amount of sellers on Whatnot that I like, and so I'll continue to go back to them, and I like supporting them. And then once you purchase one thing from them, then your shipping becomes reduced, and so you can ask them, hey, do you have any of this? And they're like, yeah, I have this too. I'm like, well, damn, I need that too. So it's just I prefer supporting someone who is like who I have that personal connection to when I'm watching them. So yeah, I love the platform. It's definitely a game changer when it comes to the hobbies collectors.
Would you say that there's a better chance of that being a real collector selling it? And in my opinion, it seems like if you're not going to be able to hold it in a store, which as diecast collectors, we rarely get that opportunity, that's about as close as you're going to get. You can ask somebody to hold it closer. Let me see the base. Let me spin it around. That adds such a different dynamic to buying a diecast piece. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when you're buying on eBay, you're looking at pictures, right? And a lot of times I've bought on eBay when they're like, oh yeah, it's in really good condition. And then you get it and you're like, well, they didn't tell me about this. They didn't tell me about that. When you're buying on a live platform, they're showing you the car right in front of your face. And they're saying, oh, by the way, and if you're picking on the car, there's this little thing. And I'm like, oh, it's all good, right? Like you can talk with someone. And then even if they're like, oh, the price is 20. Oh, how about 15? Oh yeah, that's cool. You're a good buyer. Sure. Like, it's just like that type of connection and purchasing is amazing. That's what I just absolutely love the platform.
Yeah. It's so funny because it's like we had Home Shopping Network before the internet, and then we all went to buying things on the internet, and now we're back to Home Shopping Network. It feels like, and it's fun. I like it because it's a very personal thing. Like you said, you're developing a relationship with these particular sellers. People are coming to these people because they sell the things that they like, and they like that person, and they want to buy from that person. And I think that's a really good way to keep everyone honest too, because you're showing your face. You're not just some faceless seller out there. You're a person out there with a name and a reputation. If you're out there scamming people will find out fast, and you won't be able to sell anymore.
Yeah,
so
shut you down.
Yeah.
I'm curious because you talked about how much you're into tools and technology. Like, what are some of the tools that you really like using as a content creator that you would recommend to somebody who wanted to really up their production game?
Like tools, like hammer and nail tools. That
like a recording production,
about that, but like, or is So camera is definitely the camera and lighting is like the main two things, right? A lot of people will invest in a good camera and have bad lighting, or they'll invest in lighting and have a horrible camera, right? So, and the one thing that I found is a lot of testing to do to find the right camera, lens, color, all that, and it's really just a trial and error thing, right? Don't be afraid to try one video, film it like that, edit it, watch it back, post it if you need to, right? And then just figure out what you can improve on that, right? Like, if you look at my video quality just 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years, it literally is changing all the time because I'm always I'm not consistent, right? I'm not consistent, but I don't feel if I leave my video quality the same, it's not improving on anything. I want to continually improve and have my equipment and my understanding of my equipment improve. So I'm always fiddling with those things to make it better. And a lot of it comes with just going on YouTube and figuring out, so why is my color not right here? How can I adjust it? What profile am I set it on that's wrong for this? Or what works better with close-up diecast? And it's just trial and error on trying to figure it out. Don't be afraid to test out and change things around and improve on your equipment. But I would say don't get stuck on leaving on the same equipment and the same quality, and it might just get boring to your viewers because they don't see improvement either.
Phil, you mentioned like exotic cars and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about what you like in real life, your one-to-one cars. What's your favorite kind of cars? Like,
when I tell people what I drive in real life, most people make fun of me and think I'm not a car guy.
Is it Prius?
No, definitely not a Prius. I hate Priuses.
Okay.
I drive a Tesla. I have a Tesla Model 3. But most people who are car guys, and then you tell them that you drive a Tesla, they're like, "You're not a car guy. You drive a Tesla. It's so boring." Whatever. But like, I didn't buy a Tesla because I wanted to save gas or save the environment. I bought a Tesla because drove one before I bought one, and I love acceleration. I love the instant torque that you get in a Tesla, and also the fact that the way that they produce them, the batteries are low to the ground, which keeps the center of gravity really low, so they handle so well. So I was like, I love handling, I love acceleration, and so I was like, yeah, so that's why I ended up buying a Tesla. But yeah, I mean, as far as cars go, I've always liked exotic cars. I've always been into, even though my dad was really into muscle cars more. I grew up, my dad had a Buick Grand National, a 71 Mustang 429. Like he had like the muscle cars, but he also, I remember as a kid, we would go to the Ferrari dealerships and the exotic car dealerships around, and I would sit in I sat in a Ferrari F40 way back in the day when they weren't millions of dollars. And so I kind of started developing my passion for exotic cars at that early age. And my favorite car of all time is the McLaren F1. I think that's
one of my top 3.
Yeah,
I would say.
I think it's the greatest car ever made. So, but Ferrari, McLaren, I mean, that's my number one car. But I think Ferraris are, as a brand whole, and the cars that they produce is kind of like my line of passion. So yeah, I like fast, I like good looking cars that handle like the peak of performance and perfection and motor vehicle technology. That's kind of what I've grown to like. But not to just to say that it's not to say that I don't like a lot of normal cars, right? That are not exotic and stuff. There's a lot of that stuff that I do like. I feel like this hobby has gotten me more into JDM cars. I know I was never really into the Japanese cars, but I feel like now it's become a lot more people of my era, my generation have grew up with that and we're into that, and then so they started producing all these ones, and so I'm like, yeah, these are actually kind of cool. So I started getting more into those ones now. But it's I mean, I like a lot of different cars, but yeah, exotic cars always be my first passion.
I mean, I think that's a really cool thing, like the dynamics of collecting, like whether like you're racing cars or modifying cars, is that like, the one thing I've noticed, I've always had Datsun 510s. I have 2 right now.
Nice.
And they've become really popular in the world because of Diecast.
Yes.
Because without them, people wouldn't even know what they were. So you got 12-year-old boys and girls that are like, oh yeah, Datsun 510, I love, and they've never even seen one in real life. So when I'm out driving mine, my 69 or whichever one I have at the time, people are losing their minds, but they've never even seen one in real life. So they're pretty rare. But
my mom's really first car was a Datsun 510, and so I collect a lot of Datsun 510 Hot Wheels, and just out of from my mom's passion from it. So
yeah, don't you don't want to look at my collection.
I'm sure you probably have way more than me of those. So yeah,
yeah, I'm actually downsizing them. So let me know if you need anything more. I got some high dollar rare ones that you've never heard of.
Crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's really cool because I mean I've gotten into a lot of other cars too, and Chuck and David are into completely different cars than I am, but I have a great appreciation on what cars they like, and they grow on you more, especially when you have a friend that likes those kind of cars. These cars, Satyrs, PT Cruisers. David loves PT Cruisers.
There we go.
So growing on me a little bit. Now I see a PT Cruiser.
There's a cult following of PT Cruisers. I actually watched a YouTube video on it of all these people who have like, there's these big PT Cruiser car shows and stuff. So yeah,
we're everywhere.
Yeah. You'll probably find David at one.
Dozens of them.
He's probably the ringleader. Yeah. Probably got a trench coat on. And he's like, hey,
you want to buy some?
Don't make it weird, Mark. Don't make it weird.
I'm here for it. That's why you guys got me on the show.
That's
why
we got
those first came out, and I test drove one of those when they first came out, and everyone thought it was the coolest thing ever. They're kind of neat. They're interesting.
My dad was so disappointed when they came out. Like he saw that we were following the concept vehicles and stuff. My family has always been big into cars, and like he saw them and he thought it was so cool. And then he saw how small they were. Like he was thinking all this time it was going to be like a big panel truck. And yeah, actually that would have been really cool if they were more like a panel truck. But it's like, nope, they're a neon with a weird body on top. And there's I rented one once and I was like, oh, this is disappointing. But that's okay. That was a cheap.
But was it the turbo?
It was not the turbo. I was just going to say it was not the turbo.
Cruiser.
Was it the GT Cruiser?
No. But So Phil, because you've got this channel and you do so much stuff with new cars and stuff that comes out. Do you get the chance to, you said you work with sponsors. Do you get a chance to ever work
Yeah.
with any of the big brands? And have you ever had a chance to really like get some input on that sort of thing?
So most people think that because I'm a bigger channel that I must get everything for free. Everything from Hot Wheels must send me everything and whatever. But in my years of having a YouTube channel, Hot Wheels has sent me a total of 3 packages. Right? Actually, one just recently, and which, I mean, in a way, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of disappointing because I am quite a big channel that I would hope that I would have a better relationship with them, but I've reached out to them a lot of times and they don't respond to me. But then
We'll
in a
make
sense,
some phone calls.
yeah,
Okay.
fair enough. But in a sense, there's also another aspect that I look at it as, which actually another YouTuber is the one who told me this, Drifter D. He told me that the reason why Hot Wheels probably doesn't reach out to a lot of channels and give a lot of stuff away for free to a lot of YouTubers is because they don't have to. Because Hot Wheels sell themselves. Everything that they make sells. So why do they need
What's
to?
their benefit?
Yeah, they don't need to market. It's still, I think it's the best selling toy in the world is Hot Wheels, right? So they don't need to advertise it. So in a sense, they look at channels like mine and other diecast channels of just being their advertisement for free. So so I kind of don't blame them in that way. Yes, I wish I did get more stuff for free, but also I can kind of see it from their end. So I'm not bitter about it by any means. It's just it is what it is.
Yeah, I think even Lamley buys his own cases.
Lamley gets a lot for free.
Yeah, he does.
He does. I mean, he does
Uh,
get some for free too, but that's okay. We can't all be Lamley.
Yeah.
Things that kind of are what they are instead of it is what it is. I want to know your opinion. Chase cars.
Yeah.
Overall, they good for the hobby?
I might be the worst person to ask because I love collecting the Hot Wheels premium chase cars. I have every single one of them. But are they good for the hobby? I think it kills the collecting part as far as like the hunt for them because they're so hard to get in stores, and a lot of people who want to collect every single one of them in store, that opportunity to do so is kind of ruined because so many people are doing it, or because employees at stores know what they are now and take them before they're out. I would say that I don't think that they ruin the hobby. I think they make the hobby more frustrating and more difficult, but I don't think they ruin it. Yeah, I still think that there's a market for them. I still think they should exist, but it can be a frustrating thing if you are only a collector of chase cars and then you can't find them in stores and you're forking out the big bucks to get them. So yeah, it could go both ways. It could go both ways. I can see why a lot of people think that they shouldn't exist, but I can see why it's good to create new collectors for those. So in my opinion, that there's so many cars now, I've been collecting for so long, and there's so many releases that come out of basic cars and mainlines and basic premiums and stuff like that, that to me, I got onto the trend of collecting chase cars because I wanted to just focus my collection on something that is higher value but less, rather than just trying to collect it all. Because if you try to collect it all, that's what's more stressful, and that's going to kill the hobby. And there's no such thing as collecting it all. If you're going to collect it all, then you might as well be a single guy that's 80 years old and does nothing but focuses their whole life. Yeah, it's just it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense to collect it all. So I stopped trying to collect everything, and I tried to start getting rid of stuff that is less meaningful to me and start just collecting stuff that is higher value but less quantity that I can focus on because I like collecting. And that, to me, that became like chase cars and super treasure hunts and Ferraris that they don't make anymore in Hot Wheels. So stuff like that. And so when people say, oh, you must have 50,000 Hot Wheels, and I would say, no, I think my collection actually has gotten smaller over the past 4 to 5 years than bigger.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time here. You've got to find a way to narrow your focus, or you'll be lost. You'll be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So would it surprise you? Do you remember you mentioned McLaren being your favorite exotic? Do you remember what car was in your first video?
A McLaren F1.
It was a
GTR.
McLaren F1.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
wanted to
The,
see if
the
you remember that.
spinning, the
Yeah.
spinning McLaren F1 GTR. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good, well done. Good memory.
Out of 2,500
You still
videos, that's
have
pretty
it.
good.
I do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I do. I mean, so those are the one, like the McLarens. I try to collect every single color variation that they come out. So I have my wall of McLaren F1s, McLaren F1 GTRs, McLaren P1s, McLaren Sennas, all the different color variations of those.
Sure.
Yeah. P1's one of my favorite too.
Yeah,
It's a newer,
great
newer
car.
cars.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's in my
And the Senna,
top
too.
5 favorites of all time. The P1. Yeah.
Mhm. It's funny you mentioned like how you can really get overwhelmed, especially if you're trying to be a completionist. And it made me think of Mike Zarnock, who's been on the show and talked about variations and stuff. And like these guys, like him and Charlie Mack, these guys like are the guys that have the largest collections out there. Like they'll get as nitty gritty as, oh well, during this certain period of a week they changed the paint formulas slightly, so these ones are a little bit more blue than other ones. And I'm like, okay, we need to settle down. It's like
I don't go that
Yeah.
deep. That's crazy.
It is, but
There's just too many. There's just too many. Yeah, even ones that I'm passionate about, like the McLaren P1. I think they're up to like 18 or 19 different color variations of it, and it's a cool casting. I love it, but like I'm just like just slow down. Like there doesn't
Chill
need
out.
to be that many. Like it just becomes, even with the ones that you are passionate about, it's starting to become harder to collect all of them because there's just so many releases of them.
I had to make a rule for myself that if it's got crazy glass, I won't buy it. Like if the glass is pink or green or orange or something in the car, then I'm like, just wait for a variant that comes out that has a more natural windshield color. You'll be happier with it anyway. And I do a lot of customs anyway, so I try to make my cars look more realistic. So you want to have those more realistic, like the clear or the smoke or maybe even like the light blue.
For sure.
But have you ever had a chance to do any customizing? I know a lot of your stuff is more about collecting, but have you ever drilled a car?
I tried maybe years ago taking one apart, but I'm not talented in that aspect as far as customizing go, but I do really appreciate and respect the people that have that talent to do so. And I've seen a lot of really cool customs but to me, I'm just not talented enough to do it. So it's not that I leave that to the people that have that talent and they have your guys' YouTube channel that can do that. By all means, if that's what people want to watch, go do that. Right. That's to me, it's not really my thing.
Yeah. I tell people that the first video I made of a custom, it looks like that's my first custom, but I had built probably 50 model cars before I did my first video. I'm not saying like that it's something that you need to do as part of the hobby, but I think it is a fun thing to explore. And I'm always kind of curious because there are several people that I've talked to that have kind of drifted into that niche of things. But I've also like never really gotten into the racing side. I built my first racing car a few months ago for Tiny Track Cars. He was doing a NASCAR thing and I wanted to enter. He was a guest on the show and I wanted to enter. And I really got into that too, because there's all this, like the guys that really get into racing and like shave the wheels to make them narrower so they're not as much ground contact and do all the silicone lube and all that stuff. And it's just like it's so fun that there's this hobby that there's so many things like if you got like sports cards, there's only so many things you can do with a baseball card. There's only so many things you can do with collectible
Pokemon
records or whatever. But with Diecast, it's such a versatile hobby, and there's so many different ways to enjoy it, whether you're racing them or collecting them or doing videos about them, or you put them up on your shelf in the package, out of the package, smash them all together, like Junkyard Joust does, and just make a big mess. Or like you do when you do your races with the 6 lanes or 2 lanes, or you build a whole city and have them race through the city like some guys do. It's just like there's no wrong way to enjoy this hobby. Well, there might be one wrong way, but we won't talk about that here. But yeah, it's just it's a lot of fun. It's really just kind of cool that again, not only is it something that you can do a lot with, but you can create a lot of content with. And I think it's so cool that you've gotten to express yourself and do all of these different types of videos, your unboxing videos and your chase videos and your racing videos. And general reviews and stuff, and it's so cool that that's something that we can all enjoy and benefit from and learn from each other. So as you're out there making these videos, what are some of the big things that you want if somebody were to walk away from one of your videos? What's your goal with them? What would you like them to feel?
If I can inspire people to join the hobby and start collecting and create a passion for cars, like how I've grown up having a passion for cars, that makes me happy, right? I mean, I get a lot of comments and a lot of feedback from people that say, you got me back into it, or I started collecting because of you. And I don't do that on purpose. I don't go out there and say that I need to do this to help inspire these people. But the fact that it does, just naturally, that it makes me happy. Like those comments like that, when I get feedback from that, it makes me happy that I indirectly helped inspire someone to start collecting or get into the hobby or continue the hobby or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean it feels good to know that at least sometimes when I'm down and I don't want to make a video and then I do it and that video might be the one to help inspire someone, then it's worth it.
Awesome. I think we can agree on that, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, that's why we do what we do.
So I got a question, Phil. When we watch your channel, we see a lot of Hot Wheels. We see a lot of Matchbox. Sometimes we see them 200 or 500 at a time.
Yeah.
I'm curious, are there some brands that you have gotten to know outside of those two recently that you just really think that they are doing diecast right? What are some, we're not going to be a commercial for anybody, but just what are some other brands that you like?
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So I think a lot of new brands have come up in the past 3 to 4 years. Some of them make really good stuff. Some of them make kind of stuff that is really not my style. But I think that there's just so many different brands that make really good quality stuff that it's hard to get into a market now where there is so many good brands. But I think a lot of those brands that are making good quality stuff deserve to get into the spotlight and to show what they can do. I can tell you, like, probably a brand that's been around for a while. I think Mini GT. I think they make one of the best quality stuff. Like the most realistic looking. When you look at the proportions of a Mini GT car, almost every single one that you open up, their proportions are so spot on. So and the thing about Mini GT, I think they overproduce a lot of the cars, which then keeps the value of them down, which does make it a little bit easier to get. But I think there's a few brands that make such good quality stuff that then make it in such limited qualities, which then if there's only 500 pieces or 900 pieces worldwide, and then the prices of them go up and then their brand doesn't really get out there. So in a way, I think overproducing actually helps get their brand out there more than underproducing and making limited cars, because it is a saturated market now. There's a lot of competition. So you got to do it differently or get your cars out there into as many people's hands as you can. Otherwise it's going to be hard to take off. So a lot of these newer companies that have such limited production of them, I feel like they struggle to take off or struggle to get out there, and they make great quality stuff, and they deserve to, but they just don't take off. So yeah, a Mini GT, I think they make good stuff. Tarmac makes good stuff. Tarmac Works. Those are kind of the other two brands that I really like. I'm slowly getting into different ones, like Pop Race is making some good stuff now. Yeah, there's so many. And the thing is I've recently gotten really into Porsches, and there's so many manufacturers making really cool ones of those, and I started buying them. I have packaged downstairs I haven't opened up yet of them that I randomly bought and whatnot. There's one I didn't even know I didn't even know the manufacturer. I just saw the car. I'm like, that's so cool. I need to have that. Yeah. And so yeah, there's one, like there's a lot of different really cool brands making good stuff, but it's a tough market, right? I mean, Hot Wheels doesn't make the best quality and most proportionate cars, but they are also the most collectible that people will want. If a a small manufacturer makes an RWB Porsche that looks insane, but then Hot Wheels makes one. The Hot Wheels one's going to sell it like crazy, and no one's really going to care about the other manufacturers much. But that's brand value, right? They've created really good brand value, and they've been around obviously for a long time to do that. But there's a lot of really good manufacturers that I think in the next 5 years you're going to see a lot newer collectors coming out and collecting a lot more of those specific brands. I know there's other YouTubers that started off doing Hot Wheels and Matchbox and whatever, and they've now transitioned away from that, and they're only going with a lot of these other brands, which is cool to see. That's just a shift. I think Hot Wheels and Matchbox will be around forever, but I think a lot of those other manufacturers they will take off, and they will get out there, and it will become a bigger thing.
They'll always have a place in our heart, and that's where every one of us start. So I think that's always going to be the case. I don't think someone enters the hobby collecting Tarmac or Mini GT. And to your point earlier, we talked with both Felix at Tarmac and Glenn at Mini GT, and both of them stressed to us on this show that's exactly what they're going for. They want their vehicles to be miniature replicas of automobiles. It's not a toy. It is literally a shrunk down version of a car. And Glenn, especially at Mini GT, guys, if you remember, he was so adamant about the proportions. He was just, that was so important to him. And I know that he would be absolutely smiling to hear you say that was one of the things that you noticed about his.
I've heard Mini GT
cars
coming out with the car or having pre-production of cars and scrapping it all together because one proportion was off. And I like that. I think that's how you do it. You got to do it right. Otherwise don't do it at all. So they've done they've done some great cars. And every time I open up a new Mini GT, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. So they make good stuff.
Yep. There's a diecast car for everyone, as I like to say. There's whether you like racing or displaying. It's funny. I mean, it's in my opinion, they're different cars for different jobs. You wouldn't race a Mini GT down a track; it wouldn't do very well at that. You'd race a Hot Wheels car.
I have done that. I do have some race videos of Mini GTs, but obviously they don't roll as well as your regular Hot Wheels, but they do roll.
They do roll, yeah, exactly. Well, like I said, it's a different car for a different job, and I appreciate Hot Wheels for what it is as the, for lack of a better term, gateway drug to the hobby, but also because they're designed to be played with, they're designed to be raced, they're designed to go down a track. They're Mini GT is all about the proportion to get realism. A Hot Wheels car is proportioned to go down the track. So like that's why some cars are bigger scales than 1/64 and some are smaller. They're designed to fit the width of that track. And I think that's just a really cool thing. And people will get down on Hot Wheels because they don't have their details right or they're not properly scaled. And it's like, well, that's not what they're for. They're designed to go down a track and to be played with and to fit the play sets. So cut them some slack. Enjoy that they go down the track well. Even the real rider cars are designed to fit that proportion. Not that they do very well on the track, but you can theoretically race them on the track.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when we interviewed Larry Wood, like he talked about the Purple Passion being like the first car that Hot Wheels had done in like 30 plus years that was not actually designed to do the loop on the track. Like it was too long. And he had been pushing for that for so long to have a car that was more proportional and more whatever, that looked more realistic and was more for the adult collector. But I think with that as one of the rare exceptions, and of course the cars that don't have wheels like the Starship Enterprise or whatever, the rest of them are designed to go down the track. And it's just the zoom in, exactly. But it's a hobby that's vast, and there's if you don't like the realism of this one, there's plenty of realistic ones over here. Or you got cartoons doing these crazy cartoonish shaped cars, or you've got the Fast and Furious cars, or you've got fantasy cars that look like they're from the future, or very realistic stock everyday cars from Matchbox.
Fast and Furious cars?
Yeah, I've heard that there might be some interest in Fast and Furious in the diecast world. I heard they might even make an R34.
Every variation and then some.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
New set yesterday, new set tomorrow, new set day after.
I think there's currently like 5 different Hot Wheels alone Fast and Furious sets on the shelf right now and on the pegs.
Yeah,
definitely burned out on all that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, going back to like the some of the brands out there branching out, like for us, we've gotten the opportunity and the pleasure to talk to some of the owners and designers and everything, and I think it like real cars, it comes down to the people behind the cars and how their passion and especially with Felix, his passion for people and then the cars and they give money to charity for every car that they sell, and I think that's amazing. So, and we become friends with them, and to know that we can support them, and it's a really cool thing. But it's mainly like anything, it's about the people first, and then the car second. On this hobby, we all have different hobbies, and so or we all have different likes and different cars. It's always the people first. I think it's great, Phil, that you are trying to inspire people, whether it's like your intent on every video, because that's what we try to do, and we love hearing the same thing when people make comments like, "Hey, you got me into this Mini GT or Tarmac or Pop Race because David's got me into the premium cars," and I'm pretty much selling most of my Hot Wheels or I've given away thousands to our charity that we run, but I've also sold a lot for fair prices and everything just to buy premium cars like the Kaido House and the Mini GT. I love those. And then you've got Tarmac and all that stuff, and it's really, it adds up really quick because some of those cars are $20 to $50, and then you have the chases and all that stuff too, which are really hard to collect for Mini GT.
Mini GT for sure. Chase cars are the hardest to get. Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason how to find them or get them. It's just luck of the draw, and actually, I'm actually really impressed with them because they have I think they had a system to where people could figure out whether there was a chase in the box. And now, by the way that they were arranged or something, and then Mini GT caught onto that, and then they changed it, which is nice to see that because a lot of other companies don't change the way they do things because they don't care. They're selling them, and it's everybody's hot after them. But it's nice to see that they're trying to keep the playing ground fair or level the playing ground, basically. So,
it's called a chase for a reason. You gotta chase it to get it.
Yeah, you do, or you got to pay for it. Sometimes you.
Right.
That's true.
The thing that always baffles me about chase, people post their chase finds all the time, and I gotta call BS on some of them because sometimes people will post something like that they found like 5 treasure hunts in one location, or they'll post like, oh, I got 5 of the Boulevard chases at this one store, and I'm just like, how? That doesn't make any sense. I think there's a little bit of
so many boxes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think sometimes people are messing with us on some of the Facebook groups, especially. People will get on there and be like, "Look, I found like 4 treasure hunts."
Are you saying that something on the internet is not real, Chuck? Are you really going to go there?
I don't
know. Just that people put stuff on the internet that is not real.
People are watching us on the internet right now, and it's clearly not true.
Well, Phil, you post chases. How lucky have you gotten with a chase hunt?
So as far as chase hunts in stores, I've only ever found one Hot Wheels premium chase car at the Jay Leno's Garage Lamborghini Countach. That was the only one that I found in store. I found that in Target in Bellingham across the border. But as far as I order a lot of the premium boxes every time a new set comes out. I'll order the box for it, so I'll have either a set, 2 full sets, or there's the chance of a chase car. And in those ones, I've gotten pretty lucky. I would say almost like probably maybe just under 50% of those boxes that I've got a chase car in them. Most recently was the Slide Street 2. I got the GR Corolla I got in. So I love chase cars. I love the Hot Wheels ones, and I ended up, when a new one comes out, I'll usually buy it on Whatnot or eBay and get it as fast as I can. But then now I've got 2 of these GR Corollas because I ordered the box, and the box came and it had the chase car in there. So yeah, every now and then I'll get the extra chase car in there. But as far as in store goes, it's every time I see a new set on there, there'll be like the two like the two
Plate
crappy
warmers.
cars left, and the rest of them are just scooped.
Right.
So in store wise, no. Even super treasure hunts, I like the big thing I always tell people, the only super treasure hunt that I've ever found in store was, well, technically not even called a super treasure hunt, is the 2018 Bone Shaker Ultimate Treasure Hunt. That's the only super that I've actually found in store. The rest of them I've just bought. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough to find them. As far as super treasure hunts in cases, I've got lots in cases that I've gotten before, but not as far as in stores goes. No.
Only super I've ever found was the Jeepster Commando.
My first super treasure hunt was also in Bellingham. So I think it was Fred Meyer. It was the Tesla Model S, the blue one.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was just laying. It was just somebody literally picked it up, looked at it, and set it down. Didn't know what it was. It was just laying right down on the aisle.
Yeah.
I just picked it up, and I was just,
This paint's too dark. Put it down.
yeah. So I threw it away. No, it's weird because it's like when you're looking for that stuff or you collect those, you literally feel like you're stealing something.
Yeah.
When you go to check out, because it's like, this thing's really rare. It's nice. You don't want to hand it. You don't put it on the conveyor belt. And
Yeah.
have it get mangled
That's
in there.
when you
So you're holding
self-check out.
onto it.
Yeah.
Let me
And then
scan
you
this
scan
one
it,
for
and
you.
you're like,
Yeah.
you're like looking over your shoulder, make sure someone doesn't like grab it out of your hands and run out of the store.
Don't throw it into the bag. I'll just hold it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is cool. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't want to give away my secrets on where to go for people.
Well, Phil, as we're wrapping things up, I always kind of like to ask people, first of all, do you have, we've talked about some of your favorites. Is there a particular casting that really kind of stands out in your collection that is your absolute favorite? And after that, what advice do you have for anybody who is looking to get into this hobby?
Sure. I'll start with your first question. As far as an absolute favorite, like my holy grail cars, it's probably a single casting in two variations. Is the Ferrari Enzo, the gold Ferrari racer Hot Wheels Ferrari Enzo, and the Super Treasure Hunt Ferrari Enzo.
Yeah.
So those are kind of my two. I'm like I said, big Ferrari guy, and so those were kind of like the peak of around when the Hot Wheels license was gone, right? The Enzos were kind of the big thing, and so those two are kind of my holy grails. There's a lot of people that have cars that are way more valuable than that and stuff like that, but those are kind of my two passionate holy grail ones that I've collected. So yeah, I they were on my list to get for a long time. The Super Treasure on Enzo I got within the last probably year. The gold Ferrari racer Enzo I've had for a while, but yeah, those are kind of my, if I had to sell off a bunch of my collection, those would be ones that I would keep.
We've talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about technology advice. We talked about inspiring people to collect. What is your big takeaway for somebody that is thinking about it?
So I've had a lot of people that I know that have been super deep into the hobby and got into it within 1 year. They just start collecting everything, and then their passion kind of slowly dies off because it's not an easy hobby to be in. It can be frustrating, like to get cars that you want, or a new car comes out. It's goes along with kind of what we've been saying, that sometimes there's just too many to collect, and then it just becomes too discouraging to people to collect. But I would say just be patient, and the advice I said before, don't try to be a collector of everything. Just focus on a specific line, a specific brand, whatever you choose, and try to be more niche about the hobby than have to get it all, because getting it all, those people will come and go out of the hobby. Stick to a niche, and it's going to be a more fun and passionate hobby to be in.
Well said.
Well said indeed. All right. Well, Phil, as we wrap things up again, I don't think I need to tell people, but for the sake of the one person out there that for some reason has found our channel and not yours, let's remind the folks where they can find you, follow you, all that good stuff.
At Peak Time Racing, YouTube, all the socials, everywhere. So thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your time. It's been a delight to get to know you a little bit better, and that's why we do the show, is to get to know other people in the hobby and find out the stories behind the creators and the designers and the personalities that we care so much about in this community. So thank you for sharing your story with us. It means a lot.
Appreciate the invite. Thank you guys for having me, and do your thing. And I wish you guys all the best of luck with your channel and your adventures as well.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. Well,
Yep,
thank you,
thank
Phil. And thank you, watchers, listeners, wherever you are, for making it to the end of another Diecast breakdown. If you made it to the end, leave a little comment. Let us know, because a lot of people, they miss all the good stuff that happens at the end of the episode. So let them know what they're missing in the comments below. And again, a special thank you to our patrons that make the show go. If you want to join their ranks, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com. Click all the buttons, and if you don't have any extra scratch to give us, that's fine. Just share this episode with someone that you think would enjoy it, or go back and check out some of our other videos. We've got reviews, we've got custom builds, we've got lots of shorts and community posts. Shout out to Pia, who makes all our community posts. Shout out to Justin, who makes our merch. If you like what we do, we've got merch that David and I are wearing, and you can find all of that stuff at diecastbreakdown.com. And again, as always, we want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags.
Thanks for listening to Diecast Breakdown. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend to listen in. Find Diecast Breakdown on your favorite social media platforms, or visit diecastmedianetwork.com to learn more about this and our other projects. Diecast Breakdown is a presentation of Flying Valiant and the Diecast Media Network.